Good morning, folks. Or I guess good afternoon for you. Well, it actually could be a lot of times. Anyway, Phil Gallagher, ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Today's video is sponsored by Top Deck, and we'll take a look at them after round one. So I put up a call to my various Discord members, shameless self-plug. If you want to join that Discord, you can become a YouTube member, and you'll also get access to some exclusive videos and early release videos. Anyway, I was talking to my people in the Discord, and I put up a poll, and I said, hey, what do you all want to see with my Top Deck donation this month? And the winner was Celestial Kirin combo. This is essentially an Armageddon that's legal in Modern, which is kind of wild. Here's the concept. Celestial Kirin says, whenever you cast a Spirit or Arcane spell, destroy all permanents with that spell's mana value. Now, what if there was a 0-cost Spirit that we could play, and then we would blow up all 0 costs, and lands are 0 costs, right? So our goal is to get ahead on board, either just with a couple of derpy creatures or with an Ether Vial, and then cast an Ugin's Conjurant. And then this is going to blow up all of the lands. In some cases, we might be able to actually get some extra value out of this. And Flagstones lets you get a Plains card when it goes to the graveyard. Not just a Plains, but a Plains card, meaning that we can fix both of our colors after an Armageddon. Holding this deck together, we have a handful of removal spells, such as Skyclave Apparition, Prismatic Ending, and Oust. I know Oust might look really weird at first, but it has an important role. It's something that can both answer a turn 1 Ragavan and a Murktide Regent, like in the same card slot, without ramping your opponent ahead in the same way that something like a Path to Exile might. You don't want to be playing Path to Exile as removal when you are hoping to Armageddon your opponents. That can make it like really awkward. Like you Armageddon them, they play a Ragavan, and it's like, well, shit, am I going to give them that land back? I really don't want to do that. Now, we do have some tutors to go and make sure we actually assemble both pieces of our combo. Eldamari's Call can get everything, and there's some lines where you can like Eldamari's Call and then tap your Ether Vial to put the thing that you get in immediately. And we have Ranger Captain of Eos, which lets us search for something with mana value 1 or less. Now, overwhelmingly, we're going to be searching for this, right? Our individual combo pieces alone aren't very powerful, like a 4-mana 3/3 flyer, no, and just kind of an X spot, X drop, like pseudo vanilla creature. That's not particularly great either. So like we really do need to assemble both of these to do our thing. As far as the sideboard goes, there's a lot of hate bears. You may have noticed that there's a pair of Hallowed Fountains in this deck list. This is so that we can play Lavinia, and Lavinia will do some things against some of the Cascade decks and help out against other combo decks in some ways. Most of the stuff in the sideboard here is kind of anti-combo stuff in some way, because if you Armageddon a fair deck, like a lot of times that is just going to take them out of the equation. I'm excited to see how this goes. I think this league is going to be wild, and I think we're either going to win or lose by absolutely huge margins. So I hope you enjoy it. If you do enjoy it, throw me a like, throw me a comment. Those sorts of things support my content for free, and if you're really enjoying it, there's other ways to support me available in the video description. All right, let's battle. Okay, quick addition before we get started with the league. I forgot that there is a primer for this deck, so if you are interested in what you see here and you want to mess around with it more, I will leave this link in the video description, and you can kind of get a feel for some of the other stuff that's going on with this deck list beyond what I talk about in the video. Okay, I think I'm gonna just keep this hand on the back. Hello? Keyboard shortcuts? Or mouse shortcuts, rather? Are those not working today? Well, I'll have to deal with that in between rounds, because that's really annoying. Okay. I don't know what Elvish Reclaimer Lurrus means. I'm not super familiar with cutting-edge technology in Modern, but I've played it against enough Lurrus decks that I kind of know the gist of what's going on. Oh, my F6 mouse command works, but my 1 command doesn't. All right, this is gonna drive me mad. I'm gonna pause the recording for a second and fix this. I think my update failed when I was updating my mouse software. Okay, I will deal with it for this round and then get it fixed in between rounds. All right, so let's get my mana fixed here. play my Noble Hierarch, and then I can maybe turn 2 Skyclave this thing away, depending on how threatening it is, and depending on how soon I think the Lurrus is a looming. Wonder what sort of wild things they are going to get to see. Because I get to, like, look at the top card of my library. So, like, they can see a Celestial Kirin. I don't know if that, like, makes the cat out of the bag for the average person. Like, this is a pretty fringe strategy that I'm going on here. Are we gonna be, like, straight up playing against a rock deck? Oh, hell yeah, we are. So I'm gonna take this damage. It's only 1, which is just totally fine. There's a Celestial Kirin. I need to get ahead on board before this card becomes good. So let's work towards the world where this Tarmogoyf just, like, doesn't get to obliterate me. I think I'm more scared of the Tarmogoyf than the Elvish Reclaimer here. Like, Reclaimer is obviously a very good card. Ooh. Done? Pretty good. Oh my god. I just, like, have to, right? I think I just, like, have to. So this land enters tapped, right? Visual library for a land card put on the battlefield tapped. Okay. This is theoretically a safe attack. Okay, looks like it's worked. Nice. So let's... Alright, round 1, we're doing it. Round 1, we're doing it. So there's Celestial Kirin. And there's Armageddon. This is very silly, and I love it. Alright, so there's my Temple Garden. I have Armageddon. I have 6 power in play. Alright, Modern's great. Absolutely love this for me. Now, my opponent can just, like, get back to Tarmogoyf levels of stuff. Like, there's worlds where that can be pretty bad for me. Yeah, absolutely take this damage. Go to 13. Okay. I think playing the Thalia is probably better than anything else I can do. And I think I go ahead and do it pre-combat. That way a 1-mana removal spell doesn't, like, mess up my combat for this turn. Like, I can still attack in with a 3/3 regardless. Okay, so that's worked. I'm gonna go ahead and fetch out my last Temple Garden here. And I get 5 damage this way versus attacking the other way, so I think this is better. And even if my opponent holds back Elvish Reclaimer, I still do just have 4 power in the air. And I can use most of my mana next turn to cast a call and just get another removal spell of some kind if my opponent just, like, plays something like a Tarmogoyf here. So I think I'm doing fine. Go to 9. I've also just got a fair number of chump blocks in me, if necessary. Fatal Push the Kirin. That's fine. Yeah, cool. So let's go 1, 2, 3. Skyclave. Nuke that. And there's the concession. Hot damn, we did it. Game 1. So I probably want Rest in Peace for what my opponent has going on over there. Lavinia does stuff versus Baubles. Sanctify Vec any good? I've only seen green creatures so far, plus Lurrus. I'm not sure how good that is. Brutal Cathar is probably fine. Sanctum Prelate's not crazy. I'm not entirely sure how to sideboard with this deck, because I don't think I ever get to cut, like, my Armageddon-type elements. And it seems like most of my cards are reasonable. I'd rather have this stuff than Thalia's, and then maybe I cut 1 tutor. Yeah, maybe I'll cut 1 tutor. Unsure if Eldamari's Call is better than the 3-drop creature. This is an unexciting but fine opening hand. Okay, sure. Gonna see, like, a Thoughtseize or a Reclaimer or what here? I will say I don't love how much life this hand is going to cost me in a lot of circumstances. Sure, Bauble's fine. And cracking it is expected. Peg your card. And I'm probably shocking myself for an Aether Vial this turn. Like, the Aether Vial just gets better the sooner you put it down. Like, I can oust this creature next turn. while also like deploying a Giver of Runes off the Vial. And if I make my opponent use their mana this turn to do something like an Abrupt Decay on this Ether Vial, I think I come out ahead in a lot of ways. Sure. A Goyf? Or is it a Decay? Or do they have both in their thinking? Oh, it's a Witherbloom command. Alright, so it's a Drain 2 and Destroy Vial. That's pretty good. Sure. So I guess my turn is going to be Oust plus Giver of Runes. I kind of have to decide how I want to... Oh, that's a lot of bubble. How I want to do that in terms of mana development. I'm going to assume that was just an accidental skipped attack step there, not an intentional thing. I'm just going to take the 2 to give myself flexibility here. So let's ending that creature away and play out my Giver. Alright, so... Well, the situation is fine. Like, I'm not going to lose the game to a Lurrus that's played out. I have a Kirin that I can start attacking with. I'd like to draw something to do next turn in the worlds where I, like, don't have a creature to remove via an Oust. Ooh. That's really good here. Yeah, okay. As long as I hit my land drop next turn, I'm totally good. Yeah, this is fine. Like, if I blow up an Urza's Saga after they make one construct, I'm very much going to be ahead there. Most of my opponent's baubles are in the graveyard already. Things get a little more awkward if I do have to just, like, oust away a token eventually. Land, please. This is exile a creature. This is exile a creature. Okay. Oust, unfortunately, is a sorcery, so I'm just going to have to chill a little while on that. Now, my opponent is going to get to make a couple of constructs. Not great for me. I don't know what the default card to get in Modern is. You don't have access to Retrofit or Foundry. Like, my opponent could just get something that, like, cantrips and draws a card. That's probably the low-hanging fruit. I guess there's probably, like, Shadow Spear, too. I guess I'll get to figure it out. Yeah, okay, Shadow Spear. I think it's been, like, 3 weeks since I recorded a Modern video. Like, it's been a hot minute. Alright, so I will take my 3 here. And my opponent is not equipping, which may be because they're afraid of a removal spell. Like, that's totally reasonable. Or are they just going to equip post-combat? Witherbloom command. Alright, so it's going to be mill 3, return a land, and a drain. That's fine. Oh, wait, it's not fine. That returns a fucking Urza's Saga. Oh, God. Oh, that's disgusting. I do not like that at all. Is this just Brutal Cathar, or do I double oust these tokens? If I double oust these tokens and then draw a land, I can play towards the Armageddon line. That's pretty good. Alright, I'm gonna do that. This makes a Lurrus coming into play absolutely scarier for me. But I think plays towards me actually being able to beat this Urza Saga. And this Urza Saga is scary when I am only at 8 life. Like, they've got the Shadow Spear in play already. The big thing that I need to dodge is them playing another threat this turn. Okay, like, a Fatal Push is totally fine. Absolutely, totally fine. Give me that sweet land drop. Damn it. Okay, just play you? I probably just play you. Oh, shit, I was not supposed to pay life for that. My opponent has Yavimaya. I was even gonna, like, talk about that. Clicked too quickly there. This thing has some ability to just get in the way of shit. I think I'm supposed to just grab a Noble Hierarch, though. That allows me to get to that 4th mana. That would allow me to do cool things with the Kirin. Alright, Reclaimer is fine. Although it will be a 3/4 post an Armageddon. Alright, do I win this if I Armageddon? My opponent will have a 2/2 and a 3/4. I think I've got to try. I think otherwise I lose to the Urza Saga. Alright, so this time I will properly just add the green. I maybe could have, like, played this in a way that allowed me to sneak in 3 damage this turn. Alright, so let's say yes to this. Let's grab my Temple Garden and call it a turn. I am willing to trade my... Like, I'm willing to trade one of these creatures for Elvish Reclaimer, given my life total. And then I can use Brutal Cathar in the future to answer whatever threat comes next from my opponent. Like, I don't super care about either one of these bodies. Although the double block gets really awkward if my opponent has Fatal Push, huh? Like, that's a thing. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's so awkward. Bloodchief's Thirst is a sorcery. It has to be Fatal Push. I think if they have Fatal Push, they don't fetch preemptively, right? Alright, let's do it. Okay. The combat trade is successful. Unearth. Spicy. Okay. So I can deal with this creature next turn. So I can just go land, Hierarch, and attack for 4. I will go down to either 4 or 3, depending on whether or not my opponent can equip. And then I'll play Brutal Cathar and hope to stabilize this game from there. Ooh. White border forest for the flex as well. I absolutely respect it. Alright. The opponent is going to hit me for 4, and then I Brutal Cathar them, and hopefully I have the game stabilized at that point. 2 Witherbloom commands can still kill me. Ooh, is this better? Like, this is really good. I think I'm just going to play the Brutal Cathar, though. Like, getting more bodies of my own on the board, like, definitely matters. Alright, so let's exile that. I'll take my 4 damage and go from there. Opponent's at 20, and there's a lot of worlds where they, like, use their turn to play something like a Tarmogoyf, and then I just, like, play Rest in Peace and invalidate that turn cycle. Urza Saga is still a hell of a drug, though. So I assume this is going to be Lurrus to hand. This is indeed Lurrus to hand. Alright, that's a Heath. Alright, so this is now a first striker. Can't cast 2 spells in my own turn to transform it back. So let's play Rest in Peace. That makes the Lurrus noticeably worse. I get to crash in for 6, and at my opponent's end step, I can decide whether or not I want to fetch down to 2. Like, there's going to be things that I play towards if I do, and things that kill me if I don't. Like a 2/2 artifact creature token, for example, punching me is something that's lethal. I guess I die to a Witherbloom command if I fetch here. Don't really love doing that. Let's not fetch a Hierarch. I can attack for 5 while leaving the first striker back. It's more than likely just going to be a chump block situation, though, right? Like, this will be a 2/2, then a 3/3, then a 4/4, so it already beats this in combat. Awkward. I guess I attack with the first striker. Or I could just take my 6 damage attacking with both and then intend on chumping with a Noble Hierarch. That might be the better line. I might just have to, like, get this show on the road and attempt to kill my opponent before something like a Lurrus ends up beating me. Alright. You're at 8. Shadow Spear's good. I am definitely afraid here. Like, I am absolutely on the back foot. Alright, you got your construct. So 3/3 becomes 4/4. Alright, it's just a bauble. I think just kind of has to sit on the battlefield for right now. Ooh. They're kind of playing conservatively here. So I can attack with a 5/5 and kill one of these. I would be happy enough with that trade. I attack with the 5/5 first striker, I kill one of these, this goes to a 3/3, I trade with that, they get a Reclaimer back. I don't really want that to happen, so I attack with the Ranger Captain instead. Actually, what about the trample from this? Can they just take the 5 and then kill me via trample? This becomes a 5/5. Ooh. Yeah, I probably can't attack here, actually. That trample's rough. Luris is also just looming, by the way, and Luris Bauble will absolutely fish my opponent out of this situation. Alright, what do we got? Spellbomb, I don't care about that. That's just something in the deck that is purely there for my opponent to cycle. Alright, neither one of us feels quite safe enough to take real action here. I think I will just pass the turn here. I think this situation favors my opponent, though. Like, their stuff is slowly getting bigger. Like, the 6/6 Shadow Spear situation is really bad for me. Like, because I have to double block that with both my creatures with power and toughness. Yeah. Not good. Yeah, I think I'm going down here. Yeah, so they've essentially converted one of their constructs into an Elvish Reclaimer. I really don't need this right now. So I think they can go, like, equip on Shadow Spear and just make this turn so incredibly... Equip Shadow Spear on Elvish Reclaimer and make this turn... Ooh, Dauthi Voidwalker. Interesting. And make this turn just so bad for me. But it looks like they're not going that route. Yeah. So I think I have to jump this so I don't die, and I think I have to take the 1. This shadow creature just kills me next turn. I'm not sure what exactly my out situation is like, but it is not that. GG. We get a chance to try again. Yeah, I don't have any more removal spells I can board in or anything now that I know about, like, these shadow creatures. Relic feels medium. Yeah, I think I'm gonna submit as is. I could consider Knight of Autumn. Just feels slow to me, though. Yes. If my Ether Vial does not get destroyed, this hand is quite good. Or, alternatively, if I draw a second land, I think this hand is quite good. So I think given that I have both of those going on, I think I just keep this. Like, an early Rest in Peace would be really cool. I've got Solitude to pitch some stuff if things don't quite go my way. Alright, and Inquisition. That's fine. It'll be interesting to see what my opponent takes here. Like, they can take the Eldamari's Call and keep me off the Armageddon combo, but I feel like the Hierarch and the Rest in Peace have much more immediate impact on this game. They agree. So let's tick this up to 1 so I can put in my Hierarch. Alright, I do have the second land now. I am going to go ahead and fetch. I don't think I need a second green source badly enough that I have to shock here. Let's cast this Tutor. I don't have a 2-drop that I can put in with Vial next turn. I think I'm supposed to get a Ranger Captain of Eos because I can put that in off of Vial or hardcast that. Like, I can do a 3-drop next turn and get my Conjurant. I don't think I have to Tutor for the Conjurant directly here. I think this is one of those, like, maximize your value while you can situations. Sure. That's fine with me. Reclaimer is not that big of a deal. And what's the follow-up? WotC's is. Put in a Hierarch. I'm not going to, like, pitch a Solitude here to get rid of an Elvish Reclaimer. That's not worth 2 cards right now. Alright, they go for the Ranger Captain. That, I think, seems like the best card in my hand, so I agree with their assessment of the board. Or rather, my hand, I guess. Alright, up we go. I can Eldamari's Call. Just set up the same situation again. That seems reasonable. I do kind of wish that I had a good 2-drop to put in right now, but I just don't. Alright. Ranger Captain it is. My attack does me no good here. Could have done a bluff attack, but I think I don't like that. Okay. That occurs. Now I don't have any worlds where I can Armageddon next turn. Ooh. That's bad for me. That is a 6/7 Tarmogoyf. I am probably going to have to Solitude that. That's going to leave my opponent with the Urza Saga. And if I pitch either one of these cards, I go away from the Armageddon access that I'm trying to set up here. Okay, I can pitch this Giver of Runes instead. Yeah, I'm just gonna do this now, because I'm very sure that I can't afford to take that hit. Alright. Goodbye, Tarmogoyf. And now I can end of turn, put in Ranger Captain, search for my Armageddon, and then next turn, Vial in Kirin and Armageddon. And hopefully that leaves me in a better situation at the end of the day. My opponent will have a 1/1 Construct and a 3/4. I'll have 2 3/3s. Fuck. Okay. Okay, that's bad. Oh, that's worse. Yeah. Alright. Opponent played around the mid-combat Ether Vial. I need to draw like a Rest in Peace here pretty badly. Get a Giver and try to stabilize the board that way and give up this Armageddon plan? Or do I play towards drawing a removal spell or a Rest in Peace? I don't know that Giver is going to win me this game. Like, my opponent has so many large bodies here. I think I'm going to play towards spiking a removal spell. This is a low percentage play, but it's so good if it works. Okay. Can I beat this? I can Vial in Kirin and consider casting this on either 1 or 2 instead of using it as an Armageddon. If I play it on 2, I get rid of Tarmogoyf. I get to attack for 3 this turn, 6 the following turn. Will that win? I don't know. Let's find out. Right, yes. Put in Kirin. This is a very awkward removal spell. Alright. Cool. Goodbye, Goyf. Hello, 3 damage. This is not exactly what I was playing towards, but it's not bad given the situation that I found myself in. This game ended up being just absolutely insanely grindy. Like, I expected to either win or lose these games very quickly in the fashion of kind of a meme deck, but like this deck has some chops. We're fighting against some pretty strong recursion and large creatures. Ooh, I think opponent forgot to float their mana with Urza Saga there. Okay, they're just converting into a bauble. What's your follow-up? Alright, a Fatal Push. That's fine. There's 2 lands in the graveyard right now. I'm the aggressor currently. Ooh, my opponent's Hellbent as well. Oh, okay, those are now 3/4s. My opponent has become the aggressor, and they have Lurrus waiting. Yeah, I will take the 6, and I'll attack you back. I kind of need to rip something here. I think I am just going to leave this vial at 4. I only have 1 Solitude. Yeah, if I only have 1 Solitude, I can just always node that. Yeah. Alright. If I attack for my 5, that brings my opponent to 7. So, my opponent's in the better situation here. I guess if they had floated their mana with Urza Saga last turn, they got to put Lurrus in their hand, which they couldn't do. I'm not in as bad of a situation. Oh, please don't be another fucking Goyf. Witherbloom Command is also a disaster. So they drain me for 2, return Urza Saga, play Urza Saga. And then I'm, I think, very dead. I don't have my Armageddon top deck out. Oh! My opponent just missed... What? My opponent just... Oh, okay. They get a fetch land and return it back. Okay, sure. It's about to say, like, holy crap, that's a lot of missed damage if they don't get that in. I am now in dead to Witherbloom command territory. Is that what's happening here? GG's if so. Like, this was a really fun match. Okay, that is what's happening. I am dead. GG's. That was a grind fest. Like, that was 40 minutes for me. Hey folks, this league is sponsored by Top Deck. You like supporting small business owners? Okay, what if that business was just like one person and that person like really liked Magic, and so they made a website where you can keep track of your deck lists and watch news or read news about Magic, you know, kind of keep an eye on the metagame as well for various formats, and do all sorts of other stuff like playtest your things. consider taking a look at Top Deck. They help to make this channel what it is. Alright, things are fixed. I have kind of a tough opening hand here because I have both sides of the Armageddon combo, but I don't actually have enough mana to get there, and I have to draw 2 mana sources to do this anywhere on curve. I think I just mulligan this hand, despite the fact that it has a lot of good things going for it. This is unexciting. I guess I keep this. Let's junk an Ether Vial, and this is my white and this is my green. I'm set on colors, so I can just shock myself this time around to just, like, avoid that in the future. Yeah, somehow over the last couple of days, like, my mouse drivers got updated before my Windows did, and something got wonky. Are we? Oh, we were playing against goblins. That's fine. Will I use an oust for tempo here? That's sort of an interesting question. Horizon Canopy. I don't, like, really hate an oust for tempo. Like, there's some times where it doesn't win me the game, but it does pretty good things for me. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. Let's get that out of the way, and I'm just gonna grab a Temple Garden now and just not think about that at all. See what my opponent can do with their turn, being down a mana source. Like, there's some times where they kept the one lander with a mana dork, and then they just kind of get stuck, and I take over this game. My camera's a little out of focus. All right, they found one again. That's fine. I'd like to draw half of my combo this turn, if at all possible. Negative, so I have to decide what I'm going to do with this card. Like, I'm 100% casting it here. Like, I can just get a removal spell and try to play a fair game, or I can try to work towards the combo. I think I'll work towards the combo. This still just gives me a 3/3 body as well. Let's dump a Thalia into play. And out of sheer laziness, and because I know that I'm probably going to want a Temple Garden again, I'm just going to fetch this now. Just to say this, I potentially don't want to fetch the final Temple Garden out of the deck, because I can fetch it later using flagstones. Okay. So there goes Thalia. That's fine. I wanted to have Thalia in play before my opponent's turn. I don't think they're going to have too many non-creature spells. Ooh, they're holding up something else. They may have yet another removal spell. Let's tick this up. I can get a mana dork if I want. I can also just get a 4/4 this turn. That's, like, not the worst on this board. Grab a plains. Go ahead and do this thing. Ranger Captain. Yes. Could also get Giver. Giver's not bad. I think I want to at least pretend to be the beatdown, though. Let's get a 4/4. Alright. Do you have another munitions expert? You do. Okay, so I'm going to lose the Ranger Captain here. Oh, okay, they're going to just reduce the size of this thing. That's fair. My opponent's going to be like an Ether Vial mana dork deck. So I think it's going to be hard to get ahead on board and Armageddon them in a lot of situations. What a whiff. Absolutely needed something like that to happen on my end. Sure. Alright, am I trading? I'm probably trading. I'm not the beatdown anymore. Like, I need to draw some gas. I think I have more 3-drops than anything else here, right? Yeah, I have more 3-drops than anything else. I'm gonna leave this at 3. Alright. Let's just absolutely immediately cycle this. I think I wait a turn on this. I think I value that body being larger. I'm good with this. So this is kind of a weird situation, right? Because they can trade 1 munitions expert for this, because it'll remove a counter. Sort of surprised they didn't want to do that. Yeah, my goal is to play this as a 5/5 or a 6/6 instead of just as the 4/4 that I could get this turn. What is this nonsense? Non-human creature you control enter the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. Okay. I don't really like that. Hey, do not like that at all. I'm also a little surprised to see the attack here. It was like an Aether Vial at 3 was very detrimental there. I am going to leave this here. I'll play that out. Alright. So let's send this in. Same attack as last turn. Leaving this back defensively as a 1/1 doesn't do me a lot of good. And let's make a big boy. I'm not saving these for the potential of Armageddon right now because I am just going to be behind on board like very easily. I don't think I'm going to be in a position where I will be able to Armageddon. Like, my opponent's going to play 3 mana for that Lord thing that's in their hand, then play an Ignoble Hierarch that's going to enter with a counter. Like, I have the bigger creature for right now, but my opponent is going to go wide of me very easily, and my opponent has a card advantage source that I don't. Ooh, what is tapping this goblin? We have like a Chord Calling situation? Jiki? Oh, Snoop is on top, or Ignoble Hierarch is on top of Library, meaning that that is a mana dork right now. Ooh, I missed that. So my opponent has like an extra munitions expert every turn. Yeah, that's a disaster. Okay, I think I'm dead here. I'm gonna take my draw step, but I expect that I'm conceding here. Yeah, like, oh god, that's disgusting. I don't think I have a lot in the sideboard for this deck. Like, I can play a pro-red creature. That's kind of medium. I guess I can play Brutal Cathars. Yeah, I don't have any sort of sweeper effect, any mass pinging effect or anything. Probably want these Thalias gone. Prismatic Ending seems eh. Like, I think I like these things better than I do Ending. I do not feel favored in this matchup. Okay, I have kept a very powerful Aether Vial hand. I'm going to hope that I kind of oust and make my opponent stumble and get to the point where I can kind of just do my thing. If I hit more land drops, this hand gets better. If I hit more creatures, this hand gets better. If I hit more removal spells, this hand gets better. Like, the world that's bad is if my opponent just like happens to have something like a Pithing Needle on turn 1 and turns off this Vial, and then I just like snap concede to that. Ignoble Hierarch entered the revealed cards zone? Oh, right. This is the Goblin land. Sure. That's fine. Okay. I think that's just all I'm doing with my turn. Alright, opponent is gonna put in that Ignoble Hierarch. Oh, seems like that's their turn. My opponent got their first trophy yesterday. Good for them. Alright, let's put in my own Hierarch and start this Vial going upwards. Okay. So I have 3 mana this turn. Do I want to Skyclave this to efficiently use my mana? I can just play my Kirin. Yeah, maybe I just play my Kirin this turn. And then next turn I Vial in Ranger and Armageddon. No, actually, F that. I've got a better line. So I think I just attack my opponent's mana. So I Skyclave this Vial. And then oust their creature out of play. And this just makes the follow-up Armageddon just, like, all the more damning. Yeah, I mean, that's real good for them. Okay. Well, I can Armageddon. I think it's good. Not as insane as it could be, but I still think it's good. So let's tap this. Put in Ranger Captain. Yes. Get Conjurant. 4 mana for Kirin. 1 mana Armageddon. And it's not actually all that bad because my Temple Garden replaces itself immediately. Then I play my Forest. Attack in for 3 damage. And I attack for 8 next turn. Seems good. Now, I know my opponent has an Ignoble Hierarch, but I don't think that's all that big of a deal right now. I just have just such an incredible amount of... Oh my god. Oh my god. So let's attack in for 8. Yeah, you can absolutely put that Ignoble Hierarch into play. Oh wow, So surprised of the chump block there. Like, I'm good with it. Blow up the vial? I think I'll blow up the vial. Like, it costs me some, but this is pretty humorous. Like, I have 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 power in play. Alright. Fana has given me the GGs there. Alright, let's see if we can do this one more time. I think it's harder when I'm on the draw. On the draw, do I want the Prismatic Ending back in the deck to answer Ether Vial? I think I do. On the draw, I also don't think Knight of Autumn is crazy. Do I want Sanctifier and Vec on the draw? Maybe I care more about answering threats on the draw. I don't know, just like pro-red creatures that aren't going to be... like, that I don't have to worry about 2/2s attacking are, like, totally reasonable here. Sideboarding feels kind of hard with this deck, because, like, most of my cards are reasonable. Maybe I don't want a Solitude. I could go down to Solitude and play one of these. I think if I play one, I want to play two. I'm going to drop a Giver for another one of those. Just, like, have some more stuff that helps me just not take chip damage in the early to mid game. That's a risky Ether Vial hand. How do I feel about it? Called Fountain Vial, turn 2, Hierarch. I have, like, the Armageddon setup, but I don't know that I am going to win this game on the draw without interacting with my opponent in some way. That's not going to do it. Let's mulligan again. Alright. We have to keep 5 of these. How important is the Vial? Highly variable. I think I keep the Vial. Lets me get a mana dork on turn 2. Let's junk these 2 cards. I don't know if that's actually correct. Like, there's worlds where I just ignore this Vial and try to just play slow but reasonable Magic. But the Vial is the thing that will enable me to do unfair things in this matchup one way or another. Like, I can use the call to get the Kirin if I feel like I'm not under a lot of pressure, or I can use it to get a mana dork to start casting things ahead of schedule. This just feels like a munitions expert. Maybe I don't want to get a Hierarch now. Alright, Vial goes up. Found a Hierarch anyway. Alright, I think I'm on the Kirin train. Alright. Grab Kirin, pass turn. I can do an end of turn Noble Hierarch. If that eats munitions expert, I don't like super care. For sure. Okay, just tapped Blood Crypt. Alright, what are we looking at? Dark Prospector, sure. Do I have to worry about Muxus in this format? I don't think so, right? It's that weird middle ground where, like, it's legal in Historic and Legacy, but not in Modern. They're thinking about something over there, so they've got a few different lines. For sure. Assuming no interaction from my opponent, I do theoretically have a line where I just get to Armageddon next turn. Ooh, I think I'm about to lose my Ether Vial, though. Or wait, so, no, sorry, Vial's at 1, Vial's not at 2 right now. So my opponent can use this to get Crater Maker, play Crater Maker, crack this, destroy Vial. Like, I assume that's their line, because, like, they left this Wooded Foothills up instead of using that for mana for Matron. Other Matron? Okay. Oh, do they just, like, happen? Oh, it's a Masked Vandal. Sure. Similar overall effect to the line that I described. Alright, so I will put in a Hierarch. Definitely in danger of my opponent pulling ahead on board, though. Like, their Aether Vial probably gets better as it... do I can wait a turn. So... they just, like, Matron for a good 4-drop. Or, like, Matron for Kiki Jiki, and, like... Oh, fuck it. You came here to watch me Armageddon, right? Like... let's Armageddon. Alright. I'll be left with 1 mana source in play. They'll be left with an Ether Vial in play. I think that situation favors them. But I don't think I can leave them with Vial and that much mana. I think a single turn of doing that is just horrific for me. I technically have the board stable. But but my opponent has so much more agency than I do, like, given that, like, they have a Goblin Matron in hand. Yeah, so they're going to activate that upkeep so that they don't, like, draw the card that they would want to tutor for, I guess. Tarfire. Tarfire is just 2 damage. Okay, so they want to go after my Hierarch. They want to fish the Tarfire out of their deck and then increase the chance that they draw the land ever so slightly. All right. Am I the beatdown? My attacking for 4 trades with an attack for 3. I'm fine with that. All right, get in there. Would love to draw a land or an ending here. Stays at 3. I'm going to take 3 damage. That's fine. The Sanctifier Invec is going to do a lot to help, like, this little stuff from hurting me. Okay, nice. I'm going to play this pre-combat in case anything gets just wild. I'll crash in for 4. When it goes to 11. Opponent's Tarfire on Noble Hierarch is still fine. My Sanctifier Invec can't really attack because, like, Masked Vandal just blocks it profitably. But my opponent's small stuff can't attack, so, like, that's a thing. My opponent's on a 3-turn clock in the air. Alright, they're just going for mana development over killing my dork. 2-4 attack is fine. I'll eat that damage. I mean, this is absolutely worth the 2 life. Alright. Yes. Play this. And got this trigger. I think I will just Armageddon. Like, I go down 1 land. Alright, your deck's pretty strong. It works sometimes. Alright, I'll grab my Temple Garden. Yeah, alright, opponent now says I think I'm dead. Alright. So, I'm gonna hit for 4 damage here. I'll have my opponent dead next turn. And, don't know what outs they have. It's gonna be hard to remove the Kirin. And even if they remove the Kirin, like, I still have the Sanctifier Invec that will kill them over a couple of turns, right? Because, like, now Sanctifier Invec can attack into a 1/3. Yep, that saves them a turn, right? Oh, I wonder if I should have just upkeep sacrificed this. No, because then they just do it in my upkeep anyway. Okay, land drop's fine. Do I attack? I mean, like, I'm obviously attacking with the Kirin. Do I attack with more than just the Kirin? The Sanctifier Invec attack doesn't make a lot of sense. I think this attack is fine. Like, it gets rid of a 1/1 body in a lot of cases. Oh, wow. My opponent is going to let me take out multiple bodies here. I'm super happy to take out Masked Vandal, because it means that it's easier for Sanctifier Invec to actually attack. Which is, like, something that I definitely care about. Oh, that's a 1/3, not a 1/2. My bad, I don't take out multiple bodies. Alright. Opponent's at 1. Can they pull out something? The Ignoble Hierarch is probably on chump block duty now. Unearth. Okay. Okay, there's the concessions. GG's. So we're 1-1 now. Okay, this is round 3. I have a reasonable, fair Magic hand that doesn't really have the possibility of comboing in the short to midterm. Like, I will need both another land and the Kirin to do that. But I think, like, having all the tools that I have access to here is just totally reasonable as a keepable Magic hand. Let's grab a Temple Garden. I think I play the Hierarch. Like, I could probably have a very long conversation about, like, Hierarch versus Giver of Runes here. But I think in the worlds where it doesn't eat a Lightning Bolt type card right here, it's better to have the Hierarch in play. Wah, 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 wah. Alright, that's okay. Like, Giver will still be reasonable. I'll have, like, Giver plus Hallowed Fountain next turn as my play unless I need to oust something. Ooh, I don't like that. I am not good at dealing with that currently. I need another land to be able to Skyclave it. Okay, cool. So that means this is just that and this turn. And I can Skyclave it next turn. My opponent gets 2 fetch lands worth of value out of that Planeswalker, which is kind of bullshit, but you know, Ren and 6 isn't as problematic in Modern as it is in Legacy because Wasteland isn't a thing here. You get you get pale imitations of its power. And now I'll have a Skyclave backed by Giver. Um, that's reasonable, and then we can work on some other things later. Fuck me, I guess. Just concede? I feel like this is just concede. Fuck. Like I can play a 3/3 colorless creature and then tip the hat as to what I'm doing, or I could just concede now. I think I'm gonna concede now. I think my opponent is too likely to win this game, and I only have 3 basic planes to cast most of my cards. Was pro red things reasonable? Provokers are reasonable. Tide of Autumn technically answers a Blood Moon, but like requires me to have both colors of mana in order to do so. I don't actually know about that. Rest in Peace is probably reasonable. But like the problem here is I'm gonna have so many cards that I want to board. Like I could go Solitude out, I could go a 1 toughness creature out pretty easily. And I need to keep a lot of the rest of what's here. This gives me 4 of these creatures. 4 of these effects, rather. I think I want, like, the Rest in Peace and the Sanctifiers first. Now, how do I get Revokers in here, or do I get Revokers in here? Stopping Ren and 6 is really important, because if I Armageddon while my opponent has a Ren and 6 in play, like, it doesn't do shit. Yeah. Do I go down a couple of Nobles since they died a Ren and 6? Those feel really important so that I can do these things early enough that they matter. Maybe I'll go down a couple of Givers. I'm not super confident. I don't think this deck is designed to sideboard all that many cards. Nope. Sure. What goes back? Like if I ignore the existence of Ren and 6, the answer is Rest in Peace, so I can go turn 2 Ranger, turn 3 Armageddon. I'm going to do that. This hand will be just exceptionally bad versus a turn 2 Ren and 6 now, though. But I like this gives me a potential curve that's very strong that I otherwise would not have. Right. Apt Temple Garden is fine this turn. I have my basics, so I don't just eat it to a Blood Moon. But we'll see if I'm punished with the Ren and 6 for my mulligan decision. It wouldn't return a fetch land immediately, which is cool. Alright, cool. So let's Ranger Captain. And pick up the other half of my Armageddon. Now, I do kind of need to dodge a Tarmogoyf-sized threat this turn. I technically should have sacrificed that in response, but whatever. Alright. So there's the Kirin. And let's Armageddon. Now, there is a world where my opponent sandbagged a land, or my opponent has a lightning bolt or something. We'll kind of see. Nope! Then it is time for death by 1,000 Kirin cuts. Not actually 1,000, but it should go pretty quickly. A lightning bolt here is kind of rough, because my opponent will be in the advantage situation. Alright, so I have to hold back my Kirin now. I'll absolutely shock to get a Giver of Runes in here. And I think I just hold back both of these creatures for this first turn cycle. I feel like I will lose the game if this Ragavan connects. I just can't let my opponent get ahead like that. Sure. So that's actually kind of cool, right? I'll play that. I can revoke an Arbor Elf. Because that's not a mana ability, right? It untaps a land. And now I feel safe enough getting in. That drops my opponent to 11. I don't care about taking hits from an Arbor Elf, and I am fine against a Ragavan currently. Yeah. Oh, Hierarch is even better here. I'll do that and then crash in for 4 in the air. And leave multiple blockers back while having Skyclave for Ragavan next turn. Alright, so I think I've got this one down. Yep, and there's the concession. Alright, now I know that Ragavan exists, which means I want more removal like this. Or maybe even the Solitude. I have like Moon, Ragavan, Ren, and 6 to worry about that all attack from slightly different angles. I only have 3 on the play answers to Ragavan, not counting the Givers as answers. Maybe I go down Revokers to get better at answering Ragavan on the play. Brutal Cathar just dying to Lightning Bolt is kind of rough. Let's try something like this. Yes. I need more mana. And I would love to draw a 1-mana removal spell. But this is probably okay. Ragavan? Ragavan. Which means I probably just play this as a 1-drop. My opponent has to Lightning Bolt out of the way before they can just kind of do their thing. Alright. There's my 1-1. The harder decision next turn is like, do I get another white source or do I get a green source? I don't have that many green cards, but I lose my ability to cast them if I don't fetch it out. Oh, don't fucking Wrenn and 6 me. God damn it. So like now I have this Ragavan to worry about while also having the Wrenn and 6 to worry about, and I can't really answer both exactly with the same card, because this exiles black and red cards. Ugh. I think I have to brick wall the Ragavan first. I'm gonna get planes. So this should be very hard to take off the board. And then I can neuter the Wrenn and 6 later. But I have to make this thing worse, otherwise my whole like Kirin combo thing I've got going as my endgame of this hand doesn't really do anything. I also have to be wary of a large green creature just hitting play. Sure. Well, Village? Alright. Cool. Yeah, we're not really playing Magic right now. Like, I can attack this Wrenn and 6 for 2 and threaten to kill it next turn. If my opponent has a Lightning Bolt and removes Giver, it's super bad, but I think I'm woefully behind here. Absolutely woefully behind. I'm gonna take some chances. I'm just not winning this game if the game continues at the parity it is. Wrenn and 6 is just like plussing for a land drop every turn, and also threatens to invalidate my end game. See how bad this turn is for me. Okay, yeah, there's a land drop. Blood braiding. Oh, yeah. That feels like it beats me too. My opponent can just Lattice next turn. I guess Lattice doesn't beat me yet, right? Or no, Lattice is banned in Modern. My opponent can Ensnaring Bridge, and that's pretty damn hard to beat. My opponent can also just get a colorless piece of removal. Alright, they're going after my lands. Yeah, like I can kill Wrenn and 6 and then I lose my last planes. I think this one is over. I'm going to concede here. I am just not going to beat this card with it removing my last land here. GG's. Alright, round 4. I've kept my opening hand here. This Aether Vial is going to cheat on a lot of mana for me, right? So like I'm going to have an Aether Vial curve of Giver, Thalia, the 3-drop tutor that tutors into Kirin, all off Vial. Okay. So we're playing against that Yawgmoth deck. That's fine. Let's just grab a plains here and cast the call. All right. And I'm just totally blanking on the name of the 3-drop right now. Ranger Captain of Eos. There we go. I sometimes mix up the name of this thing with the 4-drop one that's similar, that tutors for 2 1-drops. Which I think is Knight Captain of Eos. It's been a little while. Really more of a commander card than a legacy card, you know? Alright, sure. See if we get some value by killing the young wolf in combat. I do not. Take this damage. And then start pooping stuff into play. File goes up. Another Giver. I always play this. I always tap this for a Thalia on my own turn. Now, do I want to play a Giver, or do I just want to put this Ranger into play? I think I just want to put the Ranger into play. It doesn't give me something to do with the Aether Vial next turn, but it's just a totally reasonable thing to do. Yes. Grab a Conjurant. So I have Armageddon available next turn if I draw a land. I don't know the ins and outs of this deck well enough to know how quickly they can actually combo. Like, I don't think they're too many turns off, but I don't think they're there yet. And we make it be a no attack turn for them, which I am very good with. So Hierarch means I've got... Well, I can just take the Vial up to 4. Do it that way. Alright. I think I'm just going to go ahead and buff my board this turn. How are the attacks? If I attack with Thalia as an X3, she can die and make my opponent's board better, kind of. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. So I do have the question of like whether or not I want to take the Aether Vial up to 4. I don't really want to take it up to 4. If I can like leave it at 3, that's better for me. Alright, that is a Yawgmoth. Let's figure out if I'm dead to that now. I don't think so, right? Like, I can do annoying things. But none of these things are actually necessary for me. I think I'm going to try to protect the Giver here. Alright. That Giver gets pro-black. So my opponent doesn't have, like, a drain thing here that lets them just kill me immediately. Does this just kill all my creatures? I guess it costs them life each time, right? So I suppose the answer to that is no. Always yield to that. I guess my hope is kind of that I just, like, Armageddon my opponent. And I end with the better board. With the Noble Hierarch gone, I do have to take the Vial up to 4. Like, that's just guaranteed at this point. The Yawgmoth is a problem. Get a lot of damage from these Geists this turn. I just trade away the Ranger Captain for 1. Feel like that's a no? Feel like that's a no, because I have active Giver of Runes after this turn. But this is really not great for me. Like, my opponent's stuff just ignored Thalia completely. And is going to do a pretty good job at ignoring Armageddon, because they have just so many cards at their disposal. Alright. So let's draw a card with this land. See if we draw, like, an Oust or something. No. Okay. Could destroy 1-drops. I don't think that's good for me. So let's go 1. Play an Aether Vial. Activate Vial. Yes. Put in Kirin. Blow up all lands. I trade 2 of my lands for 4 of my opponent's lands. My opponent's definitely favored here. Like, they almost certainly have more lands in their hand from all those cards they drew with Yawgmoth. Alright, there they go. Opponent thinks the interaction's pretty cool. And I just absolutely have to hang back here. My opponent can really mess with my my board and in terms of like combat math using this. Okay. This is bad because this can just represent another just like Young Wolf type card that my opponent can sacrifice and make combat even rougher for me. Alright. So I think I'll do 1 block here. And I'll give this pro green. And then my opponent can just sacrifice a creature to turn this... Well, no, into a 2/2 doesn't really do a lot, right? Okay. So they're junking a Strangleroot Geist or a Yawgmoth activation, and they are going after this thing. So this is not the... I'm not blocking this one, right? They did the one I blocked, so that means I should probably just pick black now. I'll take my 3 and go to 5. But I'm absolutely falling behind here. I am going to tick this Vial up to 5 in case I draw the one of Solitude. I attack with the Kirin and not die. I attack with a Kirin for 4, put my opponent to 2. I will have 3 blockers back. Yeah, I can potentially not die. Or, I guess I Armageddon again. Because it just, like, blows up one of my opponent's lands. Yeah, cool. So the trick is, like, making it out of the next turn cycle with the Giver of Runes alive or the Bird of Paradise tapped and or dead. That's the thing that's actually tricky here, right? I have to make this a lethal attack next turn, otherwise I probably just don't win. Okay, they're just going to block the bird and then do a Yawgmoth activation instead. That's reasonable. They sacrifice this, probably kill my Hierarch. Okay, that went towards Giver. Alright. My life's bad. Okay. Scales are definitely tipping in favor of my opponent here. Okay, so it's just like everybody coming to party. Everybody coming to party. How do I win? Protection from humans is rough, by the way. I can go Ranger Captain on Strangleroot Geist. Probably a situation where I go to 1 and try to make something work in the future. So I go like Ranger Captain here. Probably need to keep this Mana Source so I can like do Oust shenanigans if I draw that. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 theoretical damage. I don't think it's going to quite work out that way. I'm going to try. Like, my opponent can't really fetch. Like, that gets awkward for them very quickly. So I presume I give pro green here. My opponent sacks this, kills the Hierarch. They'll have 5 on board. Well, my opponent can sacrifice creatures to mess with that. Okay, looks like they are going to do that. That does target the Noble Hierarch. Now that there's not a creature in front of that, I choose black. Alright, I'm at 1. I have 5 power on board, but it's kind of like 5 power with an asterisk in that, like, any one of these creatures connecting kills me. And if my opponent sacrifices 2 of these creatures, they win combat. This is the one on 5, so that one becomes an always no. Okay. Giver of Runes, Noble Hierarch versus 3 copies of Thalia with Vile on 2. I think I leave this at 1. So I can Armageddon again. So I am 100% dead if I do not attack, which means I am going to attack and make my opponent sacrifice 2 of their creatures in order to make this into a non-lethal attack. Oh my gosh. Oh wait, hold on. Does that not work, right? Like, it costs a life, so they sacrifice 1 of these. Oh yeah, it trades for the same amount of damage, right? Like, they can trade 2 life to take this off the board, and then, okay. Whew! Wow. Wow. Yeah. Okay, what do I have for this deck? Rest in Peace is great. What is Sanctifier Invec? It's just the black and red cards from graveyards, not the green stuff. That's probably not great. Brutal Cathar seems reasonable, and Revoker seems reasonable. Okay, so this is the stuff I want. Thalia is not great. Thalia is going out, and then I need 3 more cuts. How do I feel about Solitude and Prismatic Ending? I like Prismatic Ending. Solitude is something that I can pitch to answer a Yawgmoth. That's fine. I feel like I need to trim here. Like, trim 1 of these and, like, trim 2 calls or something like that. That gives me 60 while leaving me with 7 copies of the thing that allows me to Armageddon. Yeah, okay, that's fine. I mean, this Armageddon's pretty quickly in a way that gives me a land back. This isn't like the interactive hand that I might want, but like this is pretty resilient to something like discard. I'm good with it. Okay, sure. Not really looking for a land. This Temple Garden is basically going to shock me no matter what. I'm just going to get that out of the way. Like, if I end up being able to like fetch a shock later, that would be fine with me, but I'm going to cast this 3-drop next turn, followed by this 4-drop, and like do my Armageddon thing, so okay. That threw off my math. Alright, what are you getting? A Strangleroot Geist? Sure, that's fine. I guess like Fatal Push is a reason to not shock on turn 1. Lol, okay. Is Flagstones and Rest in Peace a combo? Sure feels like a combo. Alright. That's fine. Like, stopping my opponent from comboing off is much more important than anything else here. Like, then I can just play Ranger Captain of Eos as something that just hops in the way of a Strangleroot Geist, and that's just totally reasonable. Grist is kind of a pain in the ass. Sure. Like 2, go to 14. Yeah. Yeah. No kidding. Opponent said value. Nice. I'm pretty happy with just drawing that here. So I guess I will... Oh, I don't even really need to fetch, do I? I'm not expecting like a Blood Moon type Card. I already have white. Yeah. Okay. So there's the captain. Yes. Do I want to Armageddon multiple times? Or do I want to get a Giver and try to protect some stuff? Just jamming a Kirin next turn and Armageddoning, and then probably Armageddoning again. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Cutting off my own flagstones is so awkward here. Alright, what is Grist doing? Okay. So how is this ability raised? I've played with this enough to know, like, I think I can do this in the middle of this ability, right? So, like, then it targets and then I can sacrifice? Yes. Then I'll keep my opponent from casting non-creature spells this turn. Although, again, I don't exactly expect that that's a particularly strong portion of that card. Yeah. This is a lot of damage. Yeah, can I even Armageddon anymore, now that that second Strangleroot Geist is on board? Definitely a bit sus. I don't really have another good line, though. Actually, maybe that's not true, right? No, I play the Kirin, and if I just, like, pass the turn with it, then they just Grist minus kill it, attack for 5. Fuck. Alright, so I cast this. I'm gonna pass the turn. I'm gonna see if they miss just blowing this up. If they miss blowing this up, next turn I can Conjurant for X equals 2, get rid of these Strangleroot Geists. Or even X equals 3 and blow up Grist. Yeah. Yep, okay. Yeah, this is just a little too slow for all my opponent's creatures. Hitting the bonus insect token definitely helped them here. Yeah, I think I'm dead. Provoker change that? Provoke Grist. Play Giver. Play a 1/1 Conjurant. It's not exactly insane. Let's see if this is good enough. Alright, so there's Giver. Can I wait a turn? Probably can't wait a turn on this. Gonna play this as a 1/1. Fatal Push, or equivalent, kind of undoes everything that I've got going on here. And my opponent has left 4 mana up, so they've potentially just got a piece of interaction for me here. A Dryad Arbor. I mean, every point of power is legitimately scary right now. I can get some large bodies in the not too distant future. It's just like a very real question of, like, can I make it through the next couple of turn cycles? Yeah. So that goes there. If this goes here, I die. Right? So this has to go here, meaning I take 2 and go to 1. Yeah, I mean, that's unfortunately probably how that has to go. And then I can play a Kirin in Armageddon. Armageddon kills Dryad Arbor, which is kind of big game. Alright, Wall of Roots, sure. Oh my gosh, playing another land is so good for me. Drawing another land is also so good for me. Although it's a fetch land, so, like, there is that. Ah. Alright. There's the Kirin. So, by playing this, the board is currently stable. Do I Armageddon? If I don't Armageddon, I can just, like, play a 5/5 creature next turn or something. I think I'm an Armageddon. My opponent has a handful of, like, haste creatures and stuff that I would really like to just keep out of play. Alright. This is gonna be down to the wire. I really would like my opponent to find another Yavimaya. Alright, the good news is I'm making my land drops. There are some things that might be considered bad news going on in some portions of this game. We're just like not gonna talk about those, okay? Like we're just not gonna talk about those. Oh my gosh. Alright, so my opponent has land drops that are active and I don't. I'm gonna attack with this Celestial Kirin as many times as I can. I would like to draw a land that doesn't hurt me, so I can cycle this Horizon Canopy. Alright. That's a 1/1 creature. Those are removal spells that don't work right now. Alright, am I gonna keep attacking? I think at this point the answer is no. At this point, like, some sort of Strangleroot Geist style card can start to hit me. My opponent doesn't have green for Geist yet, but, like, I don't know what their other cards in hand are, right? Okay, that's not mana this turn. That's mana next turn, or like a redraw next turn. Oh no. They have a Coco? Or not Coco, wow, Court of Calling, there we go. I assume that's what's happening here. Okay, yeah. So that gets a 2-drop. That can be like a Strangleroot Geist. Outland Liberator. Ooh. Okay. So this thing can attack and destroy my Revoker. That's dirty. Right? Attack, destroy Revoker, and then get in for the last single point of damage, and I can't do these because, like, my 2 lands that I had cost me life. Oh, that also just beats me. Right? Like, my opponent can sacrifice this wall and kill me. Like, my opponent has multiple ways on board to just kill me now. And they took a line that did that. Court of Calling plus that card, so it just immediately transforms, is gross. That's a 6 synergy. Okay, do I value an Armageddon effect a little bit more highly on the play? Not sure that I do. Thinking about a Knight of Autumn to just have a tiny bit of life gain in the deck for if I end up in a similar situation as last game, but I don't think I'm gonna pull the trigger on it. Okay. This seems like a reasonable Aether Vial based hand. I think I'll go ahead and lead on the flagstones here and not cost myself life in the short term. I think I'm going to end up shocking for Temple Garden on turn 2, but I don't like have to do it here. If I get like hit with a discard spell or something here. Most of my opponent's early plays are just like Mana Dorks or Young Wolves though, so I think I'm okay. Yield to this. Get up so I can put Hierarch in. Now I've got flexibility with this call. I will shock. I will play this card, and now it's a question, like, what do I get? Actually, if I get the Conjurant directly, I can just Armageddon next turn. I'm just going to do that. And then I'll be, like, ahead on board with a Ranger Captain coming so that I can Armageddon again another turn later. Seems legit to me. Alright, bird is fine. There's also a world where I end up just, like, Conjuranting on 1 to kill these birds. That's a very real scenario right now. Okay, a Strangleroot Geist. Yeah, that's fine. So I can take 2 here, and then Armageddon my opponent. This seems fine and good. 2-drop is sort of my vile soft spot. Alright, let's fetch. Grab a plane so I don't take any damage here. Play the Kirin. And Armageddon. Now, Rest in Peace isn't involved this time. I will get my Temple Garden. Now, my opponent's left with more mana than me, but I have the larger creature in play, and I get to Armageddon again next turn, while also, like, playing a Giver of Runes. So I think I'm ahead here. Sure. Like, I don't want to see Grist very specifically this turn. Like, Grist minus on Strangleroot Geist, kill my Kirin, kind of, unravels a lot of what I've got going on. Don't do it. Don't do it. Fuck. Well, I'm really good at figuring out what beats me. And the answer is this, unfortunately. Yeah. I'm not stone cold dead to this, but this is not great for me. Let's tick this up. Another vial is not what I'm looking for. I can do this. Yes. Put in Captain. Use this ability, yes. Pick up another Noble Hierarch. Play a Noble Hierarch. I can attack with a 2/3 into Grist and force a loss of either Strangleroot Geist or Grist. Or I can just play out a Giver and try to do it with Protection next turn. I think I'll try to do it with Protection next turn. Like, if my opponent loses a creature and a Grist... Or no, it's -2 to do that, right? Yeah. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good with this scenario. Not sure if I'm supposed to tick a vial up to 4, since the 4-drops are the only things that I can't do right now. Like, putting a Kirin into play has some things that are good, but if I... It's like, cast the 3-drops, though. Like, that's the thing. Sure. There's also some worlds where I just go for my opponent's dome and try to kill them in 3 turns, ignoring the Grist, but I don't think that's going to be correct. Young Wolf is fine. When my opponent starts getting to, like, a Chord of Calling, that I'm actually worried. Eldritch Evolution. Okay. I am officially worried now. This is annoying and dominates combat. So, what's dying? Alright, so my Hierarch's dead. Going to assume my other Hierarch also dies. Just seems like a good thing to do. Okay, so there goes the other Hierarch. Now my combat prowess isn't great. Okay. So I can go tap this. Yes. Do this. Search up a new Noble Hierarch. Have to get to the combat step in order for, like, me to be able to attack as a 4/4. Okay, I succeed. So now I can attack Grist. Let this trigger go onto the stack and resolve. Then give pro green here. So that my opponent can't chump block. Okay. So that either deals with Grist or Yawgmoth. Either way, I'm good with it. Thought the opponent was going to keep the Yawgmoth. Oh my god, protection from humans. Fuck. Oh god. Oh no. I forgot about that part. Oh, that was a punt on my end. Fuck. Yeah, that means my attack step was all sorts of messed up. Alright, I lose the Ether Vial here. That's obviously bad. Yeah, I think my opponent has just tipped the scales on this game now. Yawgmoth having protection from all my shit, and then, like, these large bodies. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think if I don't draw a 1-drop removal spell this turn, game has just tipped in favor of my opponent to the point where I'm not going to come back. Like, these Grist activations and the Yawgmoth activations are both eating me alive. And I don't think I'm going to play towards, like, timing out my opponent. Land's not really going to do it. All right, I'm gonna toss in the towel here. GG's. This is a tough hand for round 5. So, like, I have 2 mana, I have a bunch of reasonable cards in my hand, and this hand becomes very good if I spike a land for the Noble Hierarch, and is just, like, very bad if I miss on land drops in the future. I think I'm going to keep on this one. Like, a green source puts his hand over the top, and any other land makes his hand keepable. I think I'm okay with that. Like, it's not an insane hand, but it's reasonable. And I think reasonable is good enough here. Alright, Watery Grave. What's the follow-up? Am I getting discard spelled? I don't super care about that, honestly. Like, they probably don't take the uncastable card that has the highest upside. They probably just take my Thalia. Sure. Oh, Vial is a fantastic draw. Like, that's something that lets me put Noble Hierarch in play. And that's something that lets me, like, Skyclave Aluris later pretty easily. Good with this. I don't really know what my opponent's deck is doing, if I'm being honest. Like, are they just a control deck with this stuff, or what? Regardless, it's just, like, land go for me. And these Ranger Captains may just be Ranger Captains that get Conjurants for non-Armageddon reasons, to just, like, treat them as legit creatures. I don't quite have enough information yet to know. Sure. Let's dump in a Hierarch, and then I'm guessing I lose a Skyclave, but I've been wrong before. Okay, I'm wrong. Go ahead and tick this up. Nice. Should be fine to cast a Ranger Captain into 1 open mana, right? I think so. Yes. So I just want to pick up a Giver versus a control deck, or what I'm guessing is a control deck. Sure. Let's do that. And then I can have Skyclaves for Lurises or Planeswalkers or whatever bullshit my opponent has. Oh, that was a quick concession. Alright. I don't know enough about what my opponent is doing to sideboard properly. Oh. That's really anticlimactic, if I'm being honest. Like, oh, that's... Oh, okay. All right. Overall thoughts on the deck list. This has a good amount of game to it for a meme deck list. I thought this was going to be like I Armageddon or I do nothing, and that's very much not the case, right? Like you can string Ranger Captains into Noble Hierarchs or Givers, or even just Conjurants that are just large-ish kind of awkward creatures, and like that's an okay backup plan. Like the Kirin is not particularly great on its own. The Conjurant is not particularly great on its own. But at the end of the day, they are bodies, right? Like I killed people. I won games with just a 3/3 flyer. Like that's okay. Um, I don't know how to make this deck better. Like I feel awkward about like the one of Prismatic Ending and Solitude and Oust and whatever. But like they do things, and I understand why they're there. I don't think I have too much else to say about this deck. I will say that I never sideboarded in the Lavinias, but I do respect their presence in the deck. And I understand wanting to have 2 Hollowed Fountains, so you can still have a Hollowed Fountain to fetch after you Armageddon. So like I get why that's there. I do kind of at the end of the day wonder whether or not that's just better than like, is it better to have better mana and just play Chalice of the Void, or is it better to like have these be a creature that can also attack? And I'm unsure about that. Yeah, but I enjoyed playing this league a lot, despite the fact that like we got bullied a little bit. Like, you know, the actual score for this was a 1-3 league, and then my opponent was just like, fuck it, I'm out. C'est la vie, such is life. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, click the like button on your way out. It supports my content for free. Have a great rest of the day, and if you end up wanting to try this deck list or do a donation deck list of your own, that information is available in the video description. See ya!